And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at The Curse of the Black Dice. Now that's a very on-the-nose thing. This is about pirates. This is yet another pirate game. And there's black dice, which are bad, and you are trying to cooperatively fight off these dice, but this is not a cooperative game because there is only one winner. Here's how. So of all these pieces here, you're going to be playing with a scenario each round. There's different scenarios included in the box. They basically have different symbols on them and different things that will happen, good or bad, when you play a specific scenario. These are cursed dice. You're going to play with 5 dice per player. You're also going to play with dice of your own color that you're going to have. There's money, and then there is rum. Rum tokens are going to be used to do different things, mostly to activate pirates. You're going to start with a certain number of pirates depending on the number of players that are in the game. At the beginning of each round, you're going to roll dice, all the cursed dice. So let's roll these cursed dice here. Let's say, for example, we're playing with 4 players. So once I roll the cursed dice, I'm going to place all the cursed dice of each type on the top here. So the rum symbols go there. Let's see, the treasure maps go there. There's a lot of treasure maps. Well, there's actually there's a lot of anchors. They go here. There's a lot of swords that go here. Swords, treasure maps. So what you're doing is you're basically seeing how bad things are this round. Each time there's going to be different things in different areas. So you can see, for example, here, there's a lot of treasure maps here. So we've set the dice up so you can see that basically this is what players have to beat collectively. Now on a player's turn, he's going to roll his dice, and he's going to look at the symbols that he has rolled on the dice, and he's going to pick one of those symbols. So let's say here I pick rum, then I'm going to put all the rum symbols here at the bottom. Now the goal is collectively for all the players to have equal to or more dice than the cursed dice that are there. Since players will essentially have about the same amount of dice as the cursed dice, this can be very difficult. And also you're kind of stuck with whatever you roll. Fortunately, players can use the different pirates here. Whenever you use a pirate, you're going to put a rum token on them. After a certain number of rum tokens, the pirate's going to turn over. If all your pirates are turned over, you lose. After all the players are done placing their dice out in the different areas, then you start over here. You see if you've won the area. If you've won the area, there's a chance something good will happen. If you lose the area, there's a chance something bad will happen. And if you lose, any extra dice that you weren't able to defeat are re-rolled and possibly placed farther down. Some of the places, whoever has the most dice there is going to draw a treasure token, which are worth 3, 4, or 5 gold, and that's points at the end of the game. Some of the places you will get rum. Some of the places you're able to, again, go to the different pirates maybe and manipulate them. They can flip dice, they can re-roll dice, they can switch dice. You can move dice from one spot to another. And so sometimes the negative thing actually causes a damage to the ship. If the ship takes damage, if it takes 2 damage, the ship sinks and everybody loses. So you don't want everyone to lose. There's a couple ways. If all the pirates die, or if the ship is sunk. Other than that, you're going to go through, players are going to get gold, and then you'll start another round. Whoever has more dice on one half the board becomes the captain and goes first. Whoever has more dice on the other half is going to get an extra treasure token. Now again, each scenario is going to have different penalties, and there might be special rules. In one, for example, you're trying to find 2 enchanted map tokens, and you can see some of these cause more damage. You have to be very careful of those. There's several different scenarios, but at the end, only one player is going to win, and that's the player who has the most treasure, the most points. That player is the sole victor, although it's possible for everybody to lose. There are aspects of this game which I find very good. I like the idea of players working together. When you roll dice, you're like, okay, when you saw, for example, in that first roll, I rolled 2 rum symbols. I can put those rum symbols there, but that means for the rest of the round, whoever rolls rum symbols, they're kind of a waste of time. They're not worth putting there because, well, you know, the idea of putting them there is worthless. So maybe I should put something where we need more, like we need a lot of treasure maps. Maybe I should stick one there, even though I only rolled one of those. So that's some interesting ideas. It's also interesting at the end, the rewards are better, but if you mess up at the beginning, you could add more of the black dice, which causes the penalties rather than the rewards to be indicated, to go off, I mean. And then there's different adventures, and so the whole thing is very interesting, but where it breaks down is the fact that the game is semi-co-op. Semi-co-op games have a very low likelihood of working in real life. And yet here's another one. Because here's one where if a player is not winning, what incentive do they have to help everyone else not lose? And the answer is they don't have incentive. So they're like, well, I could go there and keep the ship from sinking, but I can go here and try to get more gold. Why should I go there at the beginning? Because I could say, okay, I'm going to go to the end, I'm going to get the gold. Like, well, who's going to stop the ship from sinking? Oh, you are. Oh, no, I'm not. In a cooperative game, we'd be like, yeah, let's work together, let's do this. But in a semi-co-op game, the one person says, you go there and stop the ship from sinking, why don't you make me? And then it all sinks. And then you can say, well, today we've learned a valuable lesson. I'm not in these games to learn valuable lessons. I already know the people I play with are cheating, lying cohorts in games. So what does that mean anything? I want to either do a full co-op experience or just go head-to-head. But here the head-to-head sounds interesting, but in real life, you're constantly saying, well, I need to go here, do this and that, and you'll grudgingly work together, and that's what the game is saying, hey, that's the way it's supposed to be. But I just find that problematic. The component quality is fine. There's a lot of symbols. You're going to be constantly looking them up to remember what each does. But once you play a scenario, after like 2 rounds of the scenario, you'll remember what all the ones do. Okay, oh yeah, this does that, this does that, this does that. No problem. But the dice are good quality, the artwork is fine, everything is smaller, it doesn't actually need to be in a box this big. I wish they would have made like the scenario boards bigger. You know, when you have a box this big, and the board you're putting in is this big, think about that. Couldn't it have just been bigger? So I have a small problem there. The dice though are fine, but like I said, the game itself is interesting. Roll some dice, keep some of them, I like it. But it feels like they fumbled the ending here. Where is this game going to go? And I mean, historically, look at board games. Like I said, almost every semi-co-op board game does not work, and this is no exception to that rule. Yes, you might have some people who are all nice and they say, you know what, I may be losing, but at least we all won't lose. I don't usually have people like that I play with. They're not necessarily out to burn the world behind them, but at the same time, they're going to sit there and go, what's the incentive for me? Why should I go out of my way to keep the ship from sinking? I'd rather go here. Maybe I'll get some extra gold. So everyone's fighting over the gold and the ship sinks. And you say, that's what happens. Yay, I could have read that in a book. So I like the theme. I like the idea. I like a lot of the mechanisms. But I don't like the victory conditions. So therefore, I don't like the game. The Curse of the Black Dice. Dice Tower Judgment doesn't stick the landing.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!